Hello you guys. Today I'm sharing with you guys some Thanksgiving recipes because it is that time of year. It is my favorite time of year. I love Thanksgiving food. I love easy, basic, budget-friendly, nostalgic type meals that you can fix that are not things you have to overthink. So that's what I'm sharing with you guys today. Those cozy comfort foods. I've put together a compilation of my favorites and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give the video a big thumbs up and let's get going. As for this recipe, you're going to use 5 pounds of sweet potatoes. But I'm going to make a smaller amount probably, so I'm going to use what I have on hand because that's how life is. Real life here, guys. I'm not going to run out to the store and get what I need because my little one. So you're going to need 5 pounds of sweet potatoes, a cup of sugar. You're going to need a half a cup of heavy cream. But you know, if you don't have that, you can use half and half. You could even sub out milk if you wanted to. Then you also need 8 tablespoons of unsalted butter. But guys, I'm using salted, so that's a stick. I always use salted because I never buy the overpriced unsalted. I just measure out my salt. Like if it adds salt in, I just minimize that because it's already got salt in the butter. So half a cup of whole milk, 2 large eggs, 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla extract, and 1/4 teaspoon of kosher salt. All we're gonna do is what I usually do is I will take my potatoes, you put them in the oven at 375. And you bake them for about 1 hour and 15 minutes. That gets them real soft inside, and then you scoop all the middle out. I'm going to improvise tonight because I'm short on time. I'm going to microwave them for about 5 minutes, see if they're done because I've got several to put in there. You just wash them, pierce them with a fork, poke them with a fork, and then put them in the microwave for about 5 minutes. Check them. Sweet potatoes take a lot less time than regular baking potatoes to do in the microwave. So we're going to do that. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to 9 by 13 pan. I'm going to spray it with cooking spray, and then I'm going to get a bowl. I'm going to scoop the middles of the sweet potatoes out. Then I'm going to add, let's see, what all do we need to add in there? The sugar, the cream, the butter, the milk, the eggs, the vanilla, and salt. I'm going to use a mixer. I've got my little portable mixer, and you just whip them together for about 3 minutes. And then we're going to put that in the dish, and then in the topping is so good, guys. A lot of people use pecans or pecans or however you want to call it. I'm going to omit that because we don't eat that in our house. So you'll need a cup of corn flakes. Sometimes I will even use the frosted flakes to make it even sweeter. So you just need the corn flakes. If you're using pecans, you'll use 1/3 cup of pecans, 3 tablespoons of brown sugar. Then you'll need 4 tablespoons or half a stick of the butter. And then 2 cups of mini marshmallows, which I usually keep these on hand because you never know when you're going to need some marshmallows. Plus, Lainey loves them. So that will be our topping. What we'll do is in a bowl, we'll mix the cornflakes, the pecans if you're using, the brown sugar, and the butter. And then you'll just sprinkle that over the top of it. Then what we'll do is you'll have the oven. If you're going to bake your potatoes in the oven and do it that way, your oven will already be on at 375. If not, we're going to put all of that in the oven for about 20 minutes, at least till it browns a little bit. And then we're going to take that back out and put the marshmallows on top of it and then just broil it for a couple minutes so it gets it real toasted. And that is it, guys. It's a super easy casserole and it is so good. It's not like my grandma's, but it's really good because I just love easy stuff that tastes good. So come along with me while we do that. I nuked the top of that by broiling it, but it's still fine. So there is that. It's done. It's a little brown over here. Ignore that. I'm just sharing real life, guys, but it'll still taste really good. So what we need for the like there's a mixture. You got to do 4 different parts here, I think. So we need 1/3 cup of brown sugar and a teaspoon of cinnamon, and then we're just going to mix this together in a bowl. Now we're going to mix together the loaf. What you'll need for the loaf part of this bread, or this apple fritter bread, is 1/2 cup of butter softened, which is equal to 1 stick, 2/3 a cup of sugar, 2 eggs at room temperature, 1½ teaspoons of vanilla extract, 1½ cups of flour, and then we also need 1 3/4 teaspoons of baking powder, and then 1/2 cup of almond milk. So what I'm going to do is cream together the liquid ingredients and put the dry ingredients in, and we'll just mix it all together really, really good. Take 2 apples, we're going to chop them up, peel them, cut them into little tiny pieces, and mix them with 2 tablespoons of sugar and a teaspoon of cinnamon. All mixed together, you're going to bake in the oven for 60 minutes at 350. And then while that's baking, right before it's done, we're going to make the mixture for the icing. That's going to be like the glaze that you pour over top of it. All we will do is mix 1/2 cup of powdered sugar with 1 to 3 tablespoons of milk, which I'll probably use the 3 tablespoons to make it a little runnier, and we'll glaze it over there after it's out of the oven. Okay, the bread is done. Now we're going to mix 1/2 cup of the powdered sugar with 1 to 3 tablespoons of milk, and then we're going to drizzle it over this super yummy bread. So tender and moist, and look at that. So good. The apple on top. You guys gotta make. Okay, guys, I'm starting this off. No correct measurements here. I am just making instant pot mashed potatoes. You guys can make mashed potatoes in your crock pot. You can load it up with like 4 pounds of potatoes, spray your crock pot out, cook them up that way. Let them cook all day. You can cook them on your stove, which is how my mom still makes it. She makes them just boiling the potatoes on the stove and then draining the water and mixing all the stuff together. I am just throwing them in the Instant Pot for about 25 minutes because I know usually recipes say like 15 or 12. I don't trust that because I throw extra potatoes in. I did forget to drain the liquid. I peeled the potatoes this time, so they weren't as thick. So I did make them a little soupier than normal for this recipe. My dad actually said, is this gravy? And I was like, okay, Dad. No, it's potatoes, but he's just silly. But all I did was cook them for about 25 minutes. And then what I like to do is throw Parmesan cheese in. I like to throw butter in and a little bit of milk or heavy cream. Now I'm making deviled eggs. Couldn't find my mom's recipe because it's scribbled on scratch somewhere. So all I've done is I've actually gone ahead, done the 5-5-5 method in my Instant Pot, which if you guys haven't seen, I have a video on that. You cook it 5 minutes. You let it sit for 5 minutes, and then you put it in the ice for 5 minutes. Perfect eggs. So all I'm doing is scooping all the middles out because they've already been boiled through. I am throwing some mayonnaise in. I'm throwing in about 1/3 cup of mayo, and I am throwing in 1 tablespoon of yellow mustard. And then usually I use regular vinegar. I'm throwing in apple cider vinegar this time, about 1 teaspoon. And then you can throw in salt, pepper, and garlic powder. It really is just dependent upon how much you want in there. And one thing I've always done, just because my mom makes deviled eggs, and she loves deviled eggs, is we put paprika on the top to garnish it. I'm usually the deviled egg maker in my husband's family because there is like 1 million family members in his side. I mean, tons. And I have always been the deviled egg maker in our family. So I just crack up because my mom, when I cook for my parents, my mom loves deviled eggs. And I'm always like, well, I've got it nailed down, guys. So I will cook them. But this is just a quick method. You can cook them on your stove and boil the eggs the old-fashioned way. Okay, this next recipe is, I'm trying to make it like my mom. It's my mom's recipe. She's made it for years. I prefer hers. She actually takes the 2 like bird's eye type of flavor broccoli cuts, and then she even blends those up. They're like in little cube packages, and I can't find those. So I just took the broccoli cuts I had on hand and blended them so they would be like finely cut because I do not like chunky broccoli and broccoli casserole. And then I'm taking a can of cream of mushroom soup and a stick of butter melted, and I think 2 cups of cheese. I don't have this wrote down the right way. And I'm just going to mix all of this together. I'm going to spray this is the casserole dish I always put it in. I'll spray that out, and I'll put that in the oven. It really is dependent upon your oven. I think about 35 minutes. And then once it's nice and like bubbly or a little bit like crispy on top, what I like to do is take a sleeve or a sleeve and a half, I threw extra in, of crackers, Ritz crackers, and just mix it together. And this just makes the absolute best broccoli casserole. My husband does not like broccoli, but he does, like this a little bit now. He's come around. And then here I'm just throwing together some crescent rolls because I forgot one of the main ingredients I needed to make homemade rolls. So luckily, it never fails, I had crescent rolls already on hand for this meal. So that is what I'm doing here. I'm just going to throw them in the oven. It really is dependent upon your oven, but usually I can make yeast rolls or buy rolls or make my 5-minute rolls that are super easy with mayonnaise, but I'd already used all my mayonnaise up making the deviled eggs. So here you'll see me just put this in the oven while I'm getting the other stuff ready. And I didn't want to tell you guys this recipe again because I did just make this in a video last week for my What's for Dinner, but it was fantastic, and I told you guys I would probably make it again, which I did. This time, since I'm making for about 9 or 10 people, I am just going to cut the cube steak into halves like I do. I got 2 packets of it, and then I'm going to put, dredge them in 2 separate pans. I'm going to make the flour mixture that I shared in my last video, and then I'm also going to make the egg mixture in the other pan, and I did throw some cayenne into this one. So I'm just going to dredge that cube steak into the flour mixture, then I'm going to dip it in the egg mixture, and I'm going to dip it back into the flour mixture. And I've got the full recipe in my last video, so I don't want to bore you with doing that all over again. Let me tell you, it is so good. It is a little gristly and it is a little tough because cube steak is more of a tender, more of a, I don't know what you would call it. I call it stretchy meat, but it is a little tough. There we go. But it's so good. It makes this meal so good, and then the gravy is so easy to make too. So make sure you watch that last video if you didn't see it. And here is the finished meal, guys. The cube steak and the gravy. Okay, friends, that's it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed it. I hope it gave you some ideas to not overthink the food for Thanksgiving or any get-together you're having. You can carry this on into other holidays. But you guys, I love you all. I appreciate you guys, and I will see you in the next video tomorrow. Bye.